speaker is Mr. John McClendon. He's the President and CEO of Sea Ark Marine here in Monticello, Arkansas.
Well, I didn't know that we'd be on the square talking about defending capitalism like it was a dirt. Thanks for asking me to speak, Russell. I appreciate it, and I promise I'll be brief. First and foremost, and I'm glad Renee said this about ended her speech with the saying this is not a party issue, because it's not. And that's what I wanted to begin my comments by saying, is that it's not political or partisan in nature, really, regardless of your persuasion, your party persuasion. The Tea Party concept, to me, is sort of designed to generate a lot of drama, and obviously it's embraced by the more conservative among us, but really it's an opportunity, I think, for us to explore our conscience as American citizens and ask some questions about current policy and the policy that's going to affect our children. I feel strongly that the desire to preserve our democracy as it was designed transcends political party, personal agenda, or financial gain. And somebody said to me recently, they said, if you're going to complain so much about what our government's doing, you should run for office. And I said, I can't do that because I have to start my own party. I don't like either one of them. 20 years ago, a lot of the things that we're experiencing today were started, and I don't think there's anybody among us who could argue that they're accelerating at an alarming rate. And I stand here today only to suggest to you that you, in asking yourself if a larger, more powerful government is really the answer to the challenges we face. Our nation was founded by some very smart, independent thinkers. The country became successful because of a free enterprise system that encourages the entrepreneurial spirit and rewards personal risk. We enjoy the highest standard of living in the world, and Americans donate more of their time and money to charity than any other nation. And I think there's a reason for that. Some would have us apologize for this system of success. Americans are understandably incensed by the recent effects of senseless greed, but the results of this financial fiasco are catalyzing some clear support for the idea of increased government involvement in virtually every aspect of our lives. And, gentlemen, I think that's misguided anger in a lot of ways to ask for more government involvement and bigger government involvement in our lives in any respect. My message here today is to ask you to question that idea. I ask you to reflect on how we became the strongest, freest, richest, and most charitable nation on earth. I submit to you that our rise to greatness was driven by a democracy and a constitution created specifically to protect the personal and economic freedom from an intrusive and intervening government. Specifically, my thoughts, boy, I hope I don't get way out in the weeds with y'all here, but my thoughts can be condensed as follows. I do not support the use of taxpayer dollars to bail out businesses. I feel certain we are delaying the inevitable and increasing the amount invested with no hope of return by doing so. The government's best use of power related to business is to encourage investment and growth via indirect means. The growth, size, scope, and power of our current regulatory agencies, especially as related to business, are frighteningly strong. For decades, we have allowed government agencies to expand, becoming inherently less efficient in the process and hampering business growth as a result. Our current tax policy is complex and counterproductive to business investment. Policies such as inheritance taxes are in reality often a small business assassin. Small business cannot survive generational transitions without complicated and expensive tax funding preparation. I support overall revision and major simplification of our current tax code. I support our Second Amendment rights completely and without compromise. To my understanding, the Constitution intentionally sought to provide for the American public's ability to arm itself, not just for sport, personal protection, or recreation, but rather for defense against a corrupt government should that situation arise. Our forefathers had some very specific and strong thoughts on this subject that are to be respected, in my opinion. Finally, the American people simply must hold our leadership accountable. It is extremely disconcerting to me to hear representatives in Congress state, without shame, that they did not read the entire bill before casting a vote in favor of it. How did they know what they were voting for? I submit to you that character is not made during a crisis, it is only exhibited. It's time to ask for some character. In summary, let me say that if we as individuals do not educate ourselves on proposed law and demand that our elected officials act in the public majority's best interest, then we will fall victim to an overall socialization of our government on all levels, in which free enterprise, entrepreneurialism, and many personal freedoms will most certainly suffer. Our country, after all, was built on capitalism. The more power we cede to government, the further we get away from that principal foundation.